Hey guys, Harris here, and today I am going over a project that I was trying to have done by today, but unfortunately I ran into some time constraints, but also a critical issue, which I actually basically I found out using simulations in Blender to create basic fire effects or smoke effects or cloud effects is not a good idea. Let me show you what I mean. So here we have a fire simulation, which I was working on. I was planning to have 2 or 3 of them in the scene. One for each barrel, one on the fireplace over here, and maybe just a few other places here and there. On the left, I was just testing with a PBR texture for a wall that I found off Polyhaven. But anyway, back to the topic. So yeah, I have this So let me just show you what this looks like really quick. If I play animate, it creates a fire simulation, which, despite my best adjustments, does not look so good. It looks very somewhat blurry. It just has those lines sticking up, going upwards. Now this is using Eevee, not cycles, which, yeah, obviously, because for cycles I would have to render the whole thing out. I can't do that in real time. But yeah, for Eevee, it's just not looking that good. And I was doing some more research and I found out that rather than using a simulation, which like I have here, I should just fake the fire effect. And there's multiple ways of doing that. One is using, say, geometry nodes, which I will make a video on for next week, because I do want to get this scene done. It's supposed to be a kind of like a cave outcropping overlooking a horizon. But yeah, I'm gonna do that for next week, but I'm also gonna do the other fire effect if I can find a way. Well, there's a couple of ways, 2 other ways of doing it. One is you take a bunch of video panes, stack them together to make them look like a fire. Just make sure they all the panes align to the camera, so that way no matter which way you're looking in from, it's not going to, look weird, like it's always facing the camera. And the other way is to use a bunch of frames of flame images that you make on, say, Photoshop, and then animate them. And those are much more easy to render on a system. Whereas the single fire simulation brings my GPU to its knees. Well, not its knees so much, but I have 16 gigabytes of VRAM and I'm using 11.2. Just off this one fire. And this is partially related to some of the issues I was having with the volumetric clouds as well. We're gonna have to make a different way of making those, as opposed to the video I did a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, this is basically very similar to the smoke simulation instead of smoke, which is the flow type. I'm using a fire instead. And we have a texture which is a set which I named fire. And the texture is just a clouds texture, which I changed a few values, mostly the contrast set to 5. And other than that, let's go back to physics. Yeah, it's just pretty much set as is. I am using Eevee, and I was using the built-in ray tracer, which does make an effect and makes a difference. Unfortunately, not any difference to the simulation itself. But in the volumes tab, which it used to be called volumetrics, I set the resolution 1 to 1, give it a custom range that it, squishes the render frames. But as I was testing it, I was testing with a starting range of 2 meters and end range of 8 meters, but that wasn't doing much. Plus at 8 meters, when I would zoom out, the flame would just disappear, so I pushed it back to 50 meters, so it gives it a little bit more room. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, then we have the smoke domain. It's the same way of making it the way I showed last week with the whole smoke setup. The only difference is here in the smoke domain, I went into shading. Yes, the shading. Hang on. Yeah, so the shading window. We have a material output, a principled volume, The only changes are to the emission strength and emission color, which are using the volume info, which gets the information from the smoke domain volume. Just type in Shift A, search volume info, and that's what comes up. From there, we took the flame aspect, multiplied by a value of 40, just to give it more saturation of the fire effect, and that is the emission strength. And then the other prong here goes to the color ramp, to which I've added three, what are they called? 3 color stops. So one at the end here, it's set to a yellow color, an orange color for the middle, a red color for the second to last, and finally black, or where it ends up trailing into the smoke. I'm not sure if you can see it very well, but there is a bit of smoke here. But yeah, as you can see, the frames per second are like 11 and 12 because it's a simulation, and trying to have multiple of these in a single scene is just unrealistic, and I was just being dumb, thinking I could just do it this way. But yeah, I'm just gonna have to fake the fire effects, and not only that, in future projects I'm gonna have to fake a lot of effects, because I kinda overestimated what Blender could really do. Maybe I was just too used to how Unreal Engine does things, where it tries to simulate everything, and Unreal Engine is a very sluggish engine because of it, but the fact that it can even run a lot of those simulations in real time, which Blender can't even do, kind of shows that it's actually a pretty powerful engine. Whereas Blender, a normal engine, can barely just run one. Not that Blender's bad or anything, it's just, yeah, modern computers just struggle with simulations. That's just where we are at this point in graphics technology. Anyways, this is a work in progress. If it wasn't for this fire issue with the simulation slowing everything down, I probably would have had it done by now, but I guess I'll have to save that for next week, and I'll have to do a bit more experimenting on how I can get different effects to work. I mean, looking at it now, I'm thinking about maybe expanding the project. This here is a terrain that I made using the ENT landscape, which, if you remember, you go to Object, Add, Mesh, Landscape. I think I can make this look a bit better as well. It looks kind of flat right now. So yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna change the fire effects, I might as well just, you know, polish a lot more things. These cliffs I was just messing with from Polyhaven, but I think I may try to make... Well, they're just supposed to, you know, prevent it from looking flat. Like the terrain just being flat and then there's nothing out there. It's supposed to block the view, but I think I'll just work on this a bit more, make the project a bit bigger in scope. If I'm gonna stretch this over multiple weeks, I might as well. So yeah, that's all I wanted to go to today, and I'll catch you guys next week. And hopefully I could get this project to look more professional looking. I was thinking maybe this would just be a cave, but probably I'll just go with like a small... probably still a cave. Actually, no, I think I might just get rid of the whole cave idea. I'll probably make it a flat land, add some trees, some fires, some torches. Maybe see if I can get a river going as well in here. I'll think about it, and I'll catch you guys next week with what I have. And if it takes a few weeks longer, I will make an update to that next week. So yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.